Good morning to Miss Chan and all my fellow friends. I'm Zhen Jie, and today I'm going to be talking about the impact of porn consumption on students' academic performance. So now I'm going to be talking about the abstract of our research paper. So due to the high pressure of the study, competition, and performance in today's society, and it has caused students to seek a way to escape from the reality, which is porn consumption. So there are no benefits found in porn consumption, but instead there are various disadvantages that can negatively impact for a person. So the purpose of this study is to investigate the correlation and impact of pornography consumption on student academic performance. Yeah. So our research conceptually utilized meta-analysis to collect the database on previous studies. So most of the studies that were selected are for data gathering are more than 7 years old. So to maintain the relevancy and accuracy for our study. And this can also provide a better insights for other researchers for further research on this issue also. And the finding of this research data do have a negative linear relationship between pornography consumption and also student academic performance. So there are three main factors on how pornography consumption, sensation seeking, and psychological effects affect student academic performance are discussed in this research also. So all the results show that the factors are negatively affecting the students' academic performance and when having pornographic consumption. So it suggests that an extensive research on how pornography consumption can affect academic performance on students is required. So now I'll be talking about the introduction of our study. So firstly, pornography consumption affects student academic performance as students spend excessive time viewing content and leading to procrastination and insufficient study time. And it has a high frequency of consumption, reduces the focus and increase distractions. So secondly, pornographic consumptions also lead to sensation seeking, which affects student emotion and cognitive abilities. And this has results in difficulty in maintaining a stable emotional state and also cognitive overload, and it has making it harder to process information and also study effectively. So thirdly, the psychological effects of pornographic consumption, which include dysfunctional anxiety responses and also impulsiveness. And research indicates a negative impact on mental health and also academic performance with significant brain changes similar to drug addiction observed. So this finding has highlighted the urgent need for further research and also interventions to address the negative impact of pornography consumption on students' academic performance. For the problem statement, as many studies have shown that pornographic consumption negatively affects student academic performance, so this shows the essential requirement to educate the students and learn not to become addicted to it. However, the internet has become more and more accessible in all countries, and this will increase the number of students worldwide having pornography exposure. With the frequent and increased consumption, addiction of pornography develops over time. Therefore, this research is aimed to investigate the correlation of pornography consumption on students' academic performance is essential to develop a potential solutions. The significance of our study, firstly, so our research is aimed to identify and analyze the negative impacts of pornography consumption on academic performance. So it is crucial for students to understand those negative effects, and having a proper education on this topic can potentially improve their academic performance and also productivity. Parents and educators also need to grasp this relationship to create an effective support system for students, as many students today struggle to distinguish between the real world and also the fantasy world, and leading it to server addiction. Secondly, our study assists mental health professionals, which is including psychologists and also counselors in addressing these kind of issues that related to pornographic consumption and also its academic implication. Therapists can design specific interventions to mitigate these issues, thereby helping students improve their academic performance. Understanding the root causes of psychological problems is essential for diagnosing and treating both psychological and sexual issues. So, for this research can highlight the urgent need for awareness, education, and also targeted intervention to support students in maintaining their academic performance and also overall well-being. So for the research question, we have two, which is what is the relationship between porn consumption and students' academic performance? And secondly, which is what are the impacts of porn consumption on students' academic performance?
Hi, I'm Hanbin, and I'll be covering the literature review for our journal as well as the conclusion. So our literature review has three subtopics. Firstly is how pornography consumption affects academic performance. Pornography consumption frequently distracts the mind of people, which can evidently result in affecting a person's academic performance due to constant distraction. A study done by Tawakbola at 2018 did a study with the purpose of investigating the pornography consumption habits of college students and their academic performances. The researchers utilized the Spearman's correlation and well-established scales to measure and collect data. The findings strongly suggested that more frequent students consume pornography, the less likely they were to expend efforts in their studies, and consequently their academic grades deteriorated over time as they consume more and more pornography. Another similar study done by Kumar V in the year 2022, the aim of his study was to estimate the extent of pornography consumption and its effects on students' academic performance and well-being. The findings of these studies strongly suggested students who consumed pornography had a lower quality of life, which ultimately resulted with an affected well-being, and the affected well-being all significantly affected their academic performance due to motivation and energy being lost. So I'll move on to the second subtopic, which is pornography sensation seeking on academic performance. Sensation seeking can become dangerous when it is done to a certain degree. Psychological effects such as depression and anxiety can be related to high sensation seeking behaviors. A study done by Bayans that explored how sensation seeking from exposure of internet pornography can affect their academic performance. The purpose of the study was to discover the consequences of sensation seeking as an integrative model for future research purposes. The findings of this research suggest that pubertal growth that increases sensation-seeking behavior does affect the academic performance. Hence, sensation-seeking will be eventually detrimental to students' studies and grades. Another similar study by Kledelas demonstrated the effects of sensation-seeking and academic performances. The aim of the study was to investigate the relationship between sensation-seeking and academic performance of high schoolers. The findings from this study showed that low academic performance was associated with high sensation seeking from students. Therefore, sensation seeking should not be done excessively, as it has been proven to affect academic performance. So moving on to our last subtopic, which is how psychological effects of pornography affect academic performances. So a study done by Nozit in 2023 unraveled psychological impacts of pornography exposure among university students. The purpose of the study was to investigate psychological impacts of pornography consumption among university students in Kuantan and Pahang. The findings of this study showed that level of depression and anxiety were higher amongst those who were exposed to pornography content. Hence, the present psychological symptoms can potentially affect academic performances. Now, the similar study that was done by Chua Jingyi, they delved into the problematic issues of pornography addiction because of the increasingly ease of access and anonymity that the internet provides. So, the purpose of the study was to observe relationships between depression, stress, and pornography consumption. The findings of this study suggested that while pornography might not contribute to stress, it does indeed contribute to depression in students, which can ultimately affect their academic performances. So for the conclusion of our journal article, this study was conducted as a conceptual research paper using meta-analysis to collect data from past studies. It includes two main purposes, which are the relationship between porn consumption and students' academic performances and the impact of pornography consumption on their academic performance. To answer the first question of our research, there is a negative relationship between porn consumption and students' academic performance. The three main factors of pornography consumption on academic performance have shown negative effects on their academic performance. For the second research question, we found that excessive pornography consumption is generally linked to students having negative academic outcomes. It also tends to have harmful effects on students' academic focus, motivation, and even their productivity, as well as their mental health. And so in conclusion, there is a negative relationship between the impacts of pornography consumption on the students' academic performance.